at 15% per annum. So calculate the simple interest, and if 60,000 kwacha is invested for 5 years at 15% rate, then per annum. So for this question, okay, let me just review it. Are 5 years, and also have 15% per annum. So we have the 60,000 kwacha, and we have 15%. Then we have 5 years. Okay, just use the letter P. Then this percentage is the rate, and this 5 years is our time. So just then time over 100. Okay, so the principal amount is 60,000, then the rate is 15, then time we have is 5. So we just place and we'll say this rate, since it is 15, so we just get the 15 and the place on R. So we have this 15, then multiplied by 5. Okay, so 60,000 multiplied by 15, and then multiplied by 5, then over 100. So at this stage now, this 100, so we'll just say 60,000, then multiplied by 15, got 4 zeros, and for 100 we have 2 zeros. So this will be divided, and we are going to have 600 multiplied by 15, then multiplied by 5. Okay, and for this we can even start with 15 multiplied by 5, then end with multiplying 600. Okay, so let's multiply this together. So this will be a 6 0, 5 multiplied by this 0, this is a 0, then 5 multiplied by 6, that is 30. Okay, then we have this 7 multiplied by this 0, 0, 7 multiplied by the 0, then we have this 0, then 7 multiplied by, so we have 5, then we have 4. Okay, so when we multiply the 3, so this 15 multiplied by 5, we have 75. Then from this we had 60,000. Now we divide this is 60,000 by 75. So the result which we have here is 45,000, meaning that the simple interest is now 45,000. Okay, so this implies that for the principal amount, which is 6,000, when this amount is invested for 5 years at the rate of 15% per annum, it will earn an interest of 45,000. So here, the principal amount which we had is 60,000, then the time is 5, then the rate is 15%. So the rate which we have is 15%. So we have looked at this example, and also in the previous example we looked at how we can calculate the simple interest. So here the simple interest is 45,000. Okay, let's look at the last example on which we are going to calculate the principal amount when the simple interest has been calculated for us. So in example 3, let's calculate the principal amount when the interest has already been calculated for us. Okay, so calculate the principal. Calculate the principal. Calculate this principal amount is 125 kwacha. If the principal is 100, if the interest is 125 kwacha, then the rate is 10% and time is 5 years. Okay, we should calculate now the principal amount if the interest, so here the interest has been calculated already, which is 125, and the rate we have been given 10% and we have been given 5 years. So we should calculate now the principal amount. So for the principal amount, so we use the same formula. We have as interest is equal to principal amount multiplied by the rate, then time over 100. Okay, so for this, let's first identify what I have been given. So the simple interest, we are saying that we have simple interest as 100 and 25. Then the rate is at 10%. Then the time which we have is 5 years. The time which we have is 5 years. Okay, so let's calculate now the principal amount. So we just replace, for the simple interest we have 125, then is equal to the principal amount. We just have P, since we are calculating the principal amount. Then the rate is 10 multiplied by time, which is 5 years. And so this will be divided by 100. Okay, so at this stage we have principal times 10 times 5 over 100. So we can first begin by multiplying 10 and this 5. So 10 multiplied by 5, that is 50. So we have 50, then multiplied by this principal over 100 is equal to 125. Now at this stage, how can we calculate now the value of this P? So we are going to say this will be over 1, and we'll grossly multiply. So this 125 will be multiplied by this 100, and this one multiply 50 and the principal amount. So we are going to have 50 multiplied by the principal amount is equal to 125 multiplied by 100. So when you are multiplying any number by 100, so just add the 2 zeros to that number. So this one will become 125, then you add the zeros. So we have this 50 multiplied by P, which is the principal amount, is equal to 12,500. So this side will say, for us to calculate the principal amount, we'll divide by 50, and the other side we divide by 50. So this will be okay, so this will be a 50 times a principal amount over 50 is equal to over a 50. So 50 will And this side, you are going to remain with the P, which is the principal amount. Then we have 12,500 divided by this 50. So we'll just say this 0 and this 0 will go, and you are going to remain with 1,250, 1,250 over 5. Okay, now 5 into 12 is 2. Okay, 5 into 12 is 2, then remainder 2. Then 5 into 25 is 5. So this now becomes in this form. So we have this 0, so this is the 0. So we say the principal amount is 250 kwacha. So the principal amount is 250 kwacha. So for this question, where the interest is 125 and the rate is 10%, and also time is 5 years, so the principal amount which was invested is 250 kwacha. So for this one, you can even prove that the principal amount is 250 kwacha when we say we just say the principal, which is 250, then the rate is 10, then time, which is 5 years. So we can use you can use the same formula, which is simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time over 100. So when you replace this P with 250, so you are going to have the simple interest as 125. So you are going to have the interest as 125. So in this question, the principal amount which was invested is 250 kwacha. Okay, in some questions, you are going to have time when the time has been given in months. Okay, so let me just end by looking at such a question where the time is given in months. So let me just say this is example 4. So calculate the simple interest and if 60,000 kwacha is invested for 5 months at 15% per annum. So calculate the simple interest, and if 60,000 kwacha is invested for 5 months at 15% per annum. So for this question, so we are going to use the same formula, which is simple interest is equal to P multiplied by the rate. So the rate then times time over 100. Okay, now let's identify what we have been given in the question. So the simple interest is what we want to find. So we'll say simple interest. So we don't have the simple interest. Then what about the principal amount? So the principal amount is this 60,000 kwacha. So this is 60,000 kwacha. Okay. Then the the rate we have this in percent, so the rate is 15%. Then time, we have 5 months. So time, we have 5 months. Now I said that the time should always be in years. So when you have been given time in months, you should ensure that you convert the months which have been given into years. Now we know that in 1 year we have 12 months. So in 1 year we have 12 months. Now what you have been given is 5 months. So the time, we'll just say the 5 months over 12. So this indicates the 5 months which we have. So this now is 5 over 12. Then we'll say yes. So when converting, so the number of months which you have, just say that number divided by 12. Then you use 5 over 12, like for 5 months. So we are going to use 5 over 12 for time. So this one will be in this form. So this one will be simple interest is equal to, the principal amount is 60,000 kwacha. Then the rate is 15%. Then time, we'll say 5. So indicate the 5. Then since you have 5 over 12 and 5 is the numerator and also 12, the 12 is the denominator. So what you are supposed to do is that you should indicate the 12 on the denominator side. Then you say times the 100, which is on the formula. So this is 60,000, which is the principal amount, then times the rate, which is 15%, then times time, which is 5 months. So it is 5 over this 12, then times 100, which is on the formula. So we can work out this when we say we have 60,000. So 15 times 5, we are going to have 75. Then this we have 12 times 100, we are going to have 1,200. So we have 1,200. Now this, for this 1,200, you have these zeros, so we can divide from the ones which we have for 60,000. So the 2 zeros will go and the 2 goes. So what we have now is 60. So we have 600 here and 75 over 12. Now this 12 can go into 60. So 12 into 60 goes into 60 5 times. So 12 into 12, that is 1. Then into 60, that is 5 times. So we have now 50 multiplied by 75. 50 multiplied by 75. So we can multiply this 50, 75 multiplied by 50. So we have this 0. Then 5 times 5, that is 25. Then we say remainder 2. Then 5 times 7, that is 35. Then we add the 2, we have 7. So this is now 3,750. So 50 multiplied by 75, that is 3,750 kwacha. So this is now the simple interest when the principal amount is 60,000, then time is 15 months and the rate is 15%. So the simple interest, we have calculated the simple interest to be 3,750 kwacha. So we have looked at the 4 examples on how we can calculate the principal amount and also the simple interest. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just end by giving you something so that you work on your own, and when we meet we are going to revise on what I'm going to give you. So for the questions which I'm going to give you, you should always use the same formula, which is simple interest is equal to the principal times rate, then times time over 100. So this is the homework. So for the homework 1, you should calculate the simple interest. So for the simple interest, I'll just use SI on 1,500 kwacha for 3 years at 4% per annum. So you calculate the simple interest on 1,500 kwacha for 3 years at 4% per annum. Then the second question, calculate the simple interest on 100 kwacha for 4 years at 8% per annum. Then the last question, calculate the principal, amount if the interest end is 275 kwacha. Calculate the principal amount if the interest end is 275 kwacha in 5 years at 20% per annum. Okay, so calculate the principal amount if the interest end is 275 kwacha in 5 years at 20% per annum. So for the first question, you should calculate the simple interest. Then the second question, also calculate the simple interest. Then for the third question, the interest you have been given, it is 275 kwacha. So what you should calculate is the principal amount. So we have looked at how we can calculate the simple interest. The simple interest when we have been given the principal, the rate, and also the time. So when calculating the simple interest, you should always apply the formula, which is simple interest is equal to principal multiplied by the rate and also time, then we say over 100. Okay, so now this time I'll just go on and I'll read the messages which we have. Okay, so the first one is saying that why not dividing 5 divided by 12. So for the one which we had in months. Okay, so why not dividing 5 into 12? Okay, so normally what we do is that for simple calculations, for us to calculate first, so since this 5 divided by 12, what we are going to have is a decimal number. So for a decimal number, it will give us a challenge when we say we use that decimal number. Therefore, we choose to just get the fraction, which is just 5 over 12. So you treat the 5 together with the principal and also the rate. Then for 12, you treat this and you multiply with the denominator which you have, which is 100. Okay, so I think this is just the message which I have here. So the emphasis on this one, why we use 5 over 12 as a fraction. Okay, so when you divide 5 divided by 12, you are going to have a decimal number. You are going to have a decimal number, and for you to multiply numbers using a decimal number, you are going to have challenges. So that's why we opt to just choose the fraction so that we perform the calculations first. Okay, I've been your teacher, Mr. Schizia. Hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Stay tuned for the next lessons. Have a good afternoon.
Breaking the cycle of underachievement does not happen by accident. It requires an environment that provides a level of challenge matched with a high level of support. You cannot achieve that in an overcrowded environment. Creso schools are established on strong Christian moral principles. Creso schools offer excellent education services from preschool to senior secondary schools. Creso schools combines rigorous academics with a fun and highly supportive learning environment and has been supporting students and families for over 17 years. At Creso schools, we want to push open the doors into your world of success. We are currently enrolling from grade 1 to grade 12 at our boarding schools. Mobuyu Christian Academy in Siavonga and Academy in Chongwe, and at our legendary Gospel Arch Christian Academy in Lusaka. Visit our website on www.creso.org or come in person to Go Center on plot number 17734 Nangwenya Road, Lusaka. Breaking the cycle of underachievement does not happen by accident. It requires an environment that provides a high level of challenge matched with a high level of support. You cannot achieve that in an overcrowded environment. Creso schools are established on strong Christian moral principles. Creso schools offer excellent education services from preschool to senior secondary schools. Creso schools combines rigorous academics with a fun and highly supportive learning environment and has been supporting students and families for over 17 years. At Creso schools, we want to push open the doors into your world of success. We are currently enrolling from grade 1 to grade 12 at our boarding schools. Mobuyu Christian Academy in Siavonga and Fountain Gates Academy in Chongwe, and at our legendary Gospel Outreach Christian Academy in Lusaka. Visit our website on www.creso.org or come in person to Go Center on plot number 17734 Nangwenya Road, Lusaka.
Good afternoon, class. With you here is Teacher Mudenda. We are going to be learning business studies, grade 8. Our topic today will be on organization charts. So our topic today is on organization chart. So to start with, we have to understand what an organization is. So what is an organization? We need to understand the term organization. So an organization, this is a group of 2 or more people with a common goal. It's a gathering or group of 2 or more people with a common goal. So if 2 people are in the same group and do not have the same intentions or outcome or aim, then that organization or group cannot carry forth. So an organization is a gathering of 2 or more people with a common goal. So after these 2 or more people have come together and have a common goal or aim, they decide to form up a business. And then that business will be known as an organization. So under that organization, they have got different rankings or different hierarchies. So depending on the CEO, the workers, and the list of the members in that organization. So according to our topic, an organization chart is a diagram that shows how a business is structured. It's a diagram that shows how a business is organized. So, an organization chart is a diagram that shows how a business is organized or structured. It shows how a business is organized or structured. So it also shows the relationship between the personnel or department. It also shows who to report to. So every organization will have a diagram placed in whatever office showing the hierarchy of how that organization is structured, starting from the CEO, or known as the board of directors, the managing directors, the general managers, then coming down to the least person in that organization under that department. It also helps people know in which department to find that particular person. It also helps to know the duties that that person in that organization carries out. So it helps to show the duties carried out by that particular person. So this is the importance of an organization chart. So we all understand that an organization or maybe a chart is derived from a group of people. So a group and an organization is one and the same thing. It's a gathering of two or more people with a common goal. So if people come together and decide to come up with an organization, be it any kind of business, they'll all have to come to an understanding where they all know their aim. To say, this company is going to produce this kind of product. If somebody does not agree with that, then that group or maybe organization cannot go in the right direction. So after that has been formed, they now have different departments in where people need to operate from. So these departments carry out different duties. These departments carry out different duties. So I'm just going to write a simple diagram showing how an organization chart appears in some organizations. So we can start with Board of Directors, general managers, and then maybe from general managers we can have managers, we can have a human resource, commonly known as the HR, for the sake of space. And then we can have the legal department, human resource department. We can have the legal department. From the legal department, we can have purchasing, we have the accounts department, advertising, maintenance, warehouse, the transport, the sales, the IT department. There's so many departments that every organization will have according to the nature of their business. So it's not that whatever I've written here is what must be in every. Some businesses or maybe organizations are smaller than this. So maybe they might not need the warehouse, they might not need the purchases, or maybe let me also put the production. for some big industries, the production department. So as I mentioned earlier, depending on the nature of that business, you might want to have so many departments so that you have an order of how a business should run, from where to where to where to where, and then to whom to report to. So as we have seen, board of directors. These people are commonly known as CEOs. CEOs are mostly founders of that organization, the owners of the business, the people who started the business, who had the mastermind to say, we need to create such an organization to run a business so that operations are as follows. So the board of directors are actually the CEOs of that company. These are the people who look for general managers, and then after they give the orders to the general managers, these general managers now look for managers who they will elect to manage the people in this department. So that's how operations in an organization, according to the hierarchy, operate. So board of directors make decisions. They are the ones who put down their ground rules to say this is what our organization is all about. They're also known as shareholders. So anybody can be a shareholder in an organization depending on what they invest and at what position they hold in that organization. So board of directors are also known as CEOs. And then these board of directors elect general managers. And these general managers are given a duty to find the managers who are going to manage the people in the down department. These people cannot manage to control everybody. That's why they also have to elect people who they can control, tell what to do, and then these people now have to operate with the ones down, but yet getting orders from the board of directors. Sometimes these people under this department might know who the board of directors are, or even how they look, but they will have to know who their bosses are. So after this has been done, after having their GM, the meetings, they elect general managers, then the general managers are given a task to find the managers of which these managers report to the general managers, and general managers report to the board of directors. So we come to the human resource department. The human resource department. We look at what they're responsible for. So the human resource department, also commonly known as HR. These people are responsible for recruiting new personnel in the organization. They are responsible for recruiting new personnel in an organization. So the other role for the human resource, they're also responsible for firing. Firing personnel. They are also responsible to interchange personnel in that organization or workers. Another way to use is promoting workers. So they have the power to promote, promoting workers, interchanging them. So these are the duties of the human resource. They are responsible for recruiting new personnel in an organization. They are also responsible for firing. They are also responsible for promoting, even demoting. Promoting and demoting. demoting workers in an organization. So that's the role of the human resource. So their role is to monitor how workers are working. Are they improving? Are they not improving? What are the faults that are happening? So it's their responsibility to overlook these workers and to know them on a personal level. If somebody applies for a job, in an application or maybe a document called a CV, called a curriculum vitae. Under this CV, you are supposed to indicate your personal details known as the biography. Once this document reaches the HR, they will have to know you as a worker apart from your professional background on a personal level. How many children do you have? Are you married? Are you divorced? Where do you live? How old are you? Your NRC number and all those details. All those details have to be in the hands of the human resource. So that even before you get promoted or demoted, they will have to understand your background as well. Because there are people who are employed and maybe they are responsible or have responsibilities where they're coming from. So before that person is penalized, the HR will have to speak to them on a personal level and then understand to say this and this and this and this is what's going to happen if you do not follow the rules of the organization. So all that is done under the HR's department. So we move to the legal. We move to the legal department. So every organization has got rules that we need to follow. Every organization has got certain traits that they have put in play. This is the way you must dress. I'll give an example of lawyers. Lawyers have the way they should dress. Lawyers have the way they should dress. Even teachers, we have a way that we dress. And there are just certain ground rules that have to be followed in every organization. Fighting is not allowed. Exchanging words is not allowed. So there are certain rules that organization sets according to the nature of their business or how they want things to be going on. Some organizations even install cameras to monitor their workers and see if they're violating those rules. So the legal department mostly have lawyers. So we've got organizations that even have lawyers in their organization. Where something wrong goes on or maybe a crime is committed, you are faced by this department. So even before they can take you to the police or anyone go through, and there's maybe a document that you have to sign to say, do you agree to our rules? If you do not, then you leave the workplace. So this is the department responsible for making sure all the ground rules in that organization are carried out and adhered to. So we move to the purchasing department. So the purchasing department, the other term for purchasing is bought. That's the other for purchasing, bought. So in each every organization has got a department where they have things that they need to buy. There's a list that they compel. It may be every week, every month, or every 3 months, every 4 months, depending on how they decide their organization. So in every organization, there's need for maybe stationery, there's need for stationery, and maybe fuel, and any other thing. Or maybe if it's a production company, there's need for raw materials to be bought, etc. So every item that needs to be bought in an organization, depending on the need of that particular item, is first communicated through the purchasing department. If somebody works from the kitchen and there's food that needs to be bought, because we've got a number of some organizations where they have kitchens where they provide food for their workers. So maybe if they run out of cooking oil or anything else, or maybe there's need to buy every month, they go through the purchasing department. They will compile a list. After compiling a list, it goes through the purchasing department. And then after the department has that list of items that need to be bought, they communicate it to the accounts department, because this is where money is issued. Everything is bought with money. So after they have compiled and approved and signed, then now we move to the accounts department. But for the accounts department, we are looking at the purchasing department. So under this department, that's where raw materials are bought and any other needed in that organization, so that the business of the day is carried out smoothly without having to disturb the nature of the job. So that's the duty of the purchasing department. We move to the accounts. We move to the accounts department. So when we come to the accounts department, initially we know what account is for. This department deals with finances, in general, money. So this department is responsible with money. So just like I was explaining earlier on, the purchasing department, before they can purchase any item, they have to come through the accounts. So once they go to the accounts department, in the accounts department, this is where approval of money for any items to be bought is made. This is where wages and salaries are paid. So the duties are: wages and salaries are prepared in the accounts department, approved by the accountant, of course, and then any other item, because we know the heart of a business is the finances. For any business to smoothly carry on, we all know it takes finances and it takes money. So the accounts department is responsible for most of the activities, because for anything to take place, you need money to be involved. So with any query that deals with finances, it is handled by the accounts department. And then we come to the advertising department. So the other name we can use for advertising is marketing. The advertising department deals with informing the public of a kind of product that you as a business are selling out. So it is the duty of the advertising department to market their product the best way they can, to attract attention and to attract business. So advertising department, also known as marketing, is a way of informing the public on what kind of goods and services you are offering. And then once you have done your advertising in a good way, you attract customers, you begin to make profit and more money. So this is the duty of the advertising department. We move to the maintenance department. So under the maintenance department, many people would rush to the cleaners and maybe the garden people who work outside and the like, and people who sweep offices. They're also under the maintenance department. But there are some production businesses or organizations that need machines to be maintained on a daily basis, because those are the main assets of that business. So the maintenance department, this is where we have people who work under the maintaining of the machines or assets in that business. It might be the vehicles, they have to be maintained. That organization might have a mechanic who has just been employed to maintain the vehicles in that organization, because maybe those vehicles are used to transport goods, or even the workers, or so many things that help the business to run. So under the maintenance department, this is where personnel maintain machines. It might be a productive organization, and maybe the vehicles and those maybe machines that take place, or maybe under the IT, who need somebody who's specialized in IT to be maintaining the programs, or maybe the hardware part of that department or organization's assets. So that's what goes on under the maintenance department. We have personnel there that look after the maintaining of those machines or vehicles or whatever asset that needs to be maintained for the running of the business to carry on. Then we come to the warehouse. So under the warehouse department, this is where we store our merchandise or even our products after being produced, or after being worked on, or maybe any other scrap that we might have. And then we have personnel under this department that look after those items. So if it's a production company, after you produce your merchant, it might be, I can give an example of Trade Kings. We all know Trade Kings. Trade King has produced so many items. One of them is Boom and bathing soaps, Stay Soft, so many things. So once Trade Kings manufactures their merchant, what they do is, before they distribute them to the customers, they will have to store them in the warehouse, because of course their production is daily. So they produce thousands and thousands of merchants. So after they have produced that, there's a place where they have to store before it can be distributed to the end users or the customers. So this is the use of the warehouse. So the warehouse helps to store items of that organization. Or maybe used machines that do not need to be used anymore, but you store them somewhere, even just for the sake of cleanliness in the environment. You cannot throw away computers just because they're not working. You store them, and maybe people might buy them as scrap. So this is the use of the warehouse department. We come to the transport department. So the transport department, even as the word says transport, this is transit. Things that are in transit, things that need to be moved from point A to point B. So the transport department, the duties of this department is to either transport goods and services from the manufacturers to the end users, as well as transport the workers of that organization from work to their various homes, or from their various homes to work. So this is the duties of the transport department, to transfer the goods from the manufacturer to the supplier, and the supplier to the end users, as well as to transport the staff, the members of staff in that organization. And then we move to the sales department. We move to the sales department. So the sales department mostly work hand in hand with the advertising department. Once goods have been marketed, the public will need to look for the people selling that particular product and acquire them. So once they have acquired those products, or maybe as you advertise, you are going to put your particulars of that organization, the numbers, of which sometimes those numbers are referred to the sales department. So this is the department where items and goods are being sold out to the customers or the end users. So under that organization, the sales department works hand in hand with the advertising department. After goods have been marketed and known to the public, people are now aware. What next? They look for where to go and buy those items. That's what the sales departments are. So sales departments might not be in that actual organization. They might be planted in different areas. Maybe they have a shop at the mall, or maybe 3 malls around, or maybe just along the streets. So this is the sales department. So as these people are advertising, they put the details of the people under the sales department. If there's need for communication, communication is done and goods are being sold under the sales department. And then after the sales department, we come to the IT. So the IT department IT simply means information technology. So the IT department, they're responsible for monitoring the premises using digital information. So mostly there will be no need for the HR to move from department to department to department to monitor people or maybe how they're working. Instead, they will install CCTV cameras, and maybe the people under the IT department will be monitoring the people to see if there's any theft happening or maybe any violation of the rules happening. So this is the use of the IT department. IT has made life easy and also might also not make life easy because it has also taken over manpower. So instead of employing somebody to monitor you, you are being monitored by one person at once using technology. So this is the use of the IT department. It might also be used to also calculate some calculations that might not be comprehended by us. So even the IT department is involved with that. So we come to the production department. So the production department, this is where raw materials are turned into finished goods. So like I mentioned earlier, we come back to a company or maybe organization known as Trade Kings. These people will have raw materials of which they will have to transform into finished goods. When they have those raw materials that have been transformed to finished goods, and then their part is done in the production department. What next is remaining? Warehousing. After you produce your goods, you warehouse, advertise, sell, the business goes on. So this department is involved for turning raw materials into finished goods. So this is the role of this department. All they know is to produce what that particular organization is offering, depending on the nature of that job. So these are just a few departments that I decided to explain about, but there are so many departments in an organization chart that can be included depending on the nature of that job. So if there are any questions, we have a question here. Okay, apparently I do not have any questions. So our subject today for the grade 8 class was business studies, and our topic was on organization charts. So remember we said an organization chart is a diagram that shows how a business is organized or structured. And then under the first we looked at where an organization is derived from. It's derived from a group. So after it has been derived from a group, people come together with an understanding of creating a business. And then under that business, they are going to have workers of whom they are going to instruct and control. I don't seem to have any questions, so we come to the end of our topic for today. Your teacher here has been Miss Modenda. See you next time.
makosi. Akutandalira mulungu wa Hana lelo. Akutandalira. Untandalileko. 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 Lesa wakwa Hana. Untandalileko. Untandalile. Untandalileko. Yelelele. Untandalileko. Takwa becha kosa kudi iwe. Tiawatala wambilwa. Yo. Uwe walegele ya meshi ayalula. Ukuwa yaloa. Lisa wakwa Israeli. Ilange. Untandalileko. Somebody tell him right now. Untandalileko. Aya. Oh, untandalileko. Aye, untandalileko. Aye, so. Thank you, Akote. tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe tawikala tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe aya tawikala tondolo baba na bobe yes tawikala shiri baba na bobe tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe tawikala tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe tawikala tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe tawikala tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe tawikala tondolo baba na bobe tawikala shiri baba na bobe. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for staying with us. Am I going to get some comments?